how do you capture an audience, right? You're pitching to an investor, but you're also talking to millions of people. Like, why should they care?
Welcome to Honest Ecommerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to another on-location recording for Honest Ecommerce. We're here at E-Tail Palm Springs. I'm pretty sure the day just ended because it's 10 times quieter than the last session that we did. But today, without further ado, we're welcoming to the show Jiake Liu from Outer. Jiake, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the invite. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also a big shout out to E-Tail. Go to events, meet new people, network, get on podcasts. It's a great time. So for those that don't know Outer, could you quickly let them know the types of products you guys are bringing to the market there?
Sure. So, Outer is a Santa Monica-based outdoor living brand, and we focus in outdoor living, and we started introducing outdoor furniture products about 5 years ago. And now we're quickly moving into backyard renovations and, prefab structures and all of that. And, we've been in the market for, like I said, 5 years. And we are mainly DTC. We're mainly e-commerce oriented. Some people might even know us by our showroom network, which is we're building showrooms in people's backyards. It's a crowdsource model. So we have over 1,000 of these over America.
Well, I can't wait to dive in. You've already said some fun things that I already knew about, but all right. So first and foremost, take me back in time. Where did the idea to start a direct consumer outdoor brand come from?
Sure. So I was born in China, but I moved to the US when I was pretty young, middle school. So I grew up actually in the South in Alabama, where backyard living, is part of kind of like the lifestyle as well. Certainly after moving to LA, after graduation, backyard living is definitely, it's like a very everyday kind of occurrence. And so I was building my previous software business and I was exiting it. And one morning I woke up and I sat on my outdoor sofa in my patio, and 3.5 seconds later, I realized the cushion was wet. A lot of people have experienced that. We jokingly call it the wet bottom syndrome, but you realize too late that it's a trap, right? And so I was like, there must be a better way to solve for this. And so that was really the impetus, the moment that I thought outdoor furniture could be better. And I looked at the category. It was one of the fastest growing segments for furniture. This was before COVID, way before COVID. And certainly, COVID was kind of like a catalyst to all of it. But before COVID, it was already growing double digits in the market that's really stagnant, furniture. And so that was the moment. It was my second company, so I had the fortune of having angel investors and previous investors I worked with. I got lucky in meeting my co-founder Terry, who was a former head designer at Pottery Barn. And I also have a family member in China who's been in the outdoor furniture manufacturing business for almost 10 years. And so it's kind of like connecting all the pieces and saying, maybe there's something I can do here to kind of reinvigorate a category that's been overlooked.
Yeah, and obviously there's some luck there, but it's also recognizing the opportunity is something that anybody can do if they just are paying attention and kind of reading trends or just seeing what the problem is in their own life. You can go back through the last 300 episodes of this podcast, and most people are like, well, this was a problem for me.
Sure.
And then no one else took it as seriously as I did. And then I just started to work on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had some great, once you started to expand upon it a little more, some great people in your network, your co-founder, and obviously your family member helping you produce these products. What was the timeline between, I think there's something here, to you're talking to an angel and trying to raise funds?
So raising funds, again, this is my second venture funded business. So that was almost like my angel investor, or one of my investors, equity investor, institutional investor in my first business was like, hey, what do you want to do next?
Makes it a little bit easier.
It made it a little bit easier. He's like, hey, I got a blank check for you. What are we going to do? And I was like, how about outdoor furniture? He's like, how about something else? But it worked out for him. And so, so fundraising second time around was definitely easier. And I think I got very lucky with kind of like the the capital markets where it was way easier to raise money, before 2021, obviously. So we've had a lot of luck, with fundraising and picking the right investors instead of just going after investors.
And so, meanwhile, obviously, you're fundraising. What was the idea for was there a flagship product or product line? What, you just can't ask for money for outdoor furniture. Like, what were you trying to change? What were you trying to improve?
And from the very get-go, I had some experience in running a little shop on Wayfair/Amazon and helping my family member selling his outdoor furniture.
Yep.
What I realized was, it was a really fast-growing business. Yet, all of the reviews are like 3.5 stars. It's like, why are people buying this, really crappy product, and they rant about it, yet they still buy, nonstop? There must be some magic to it. And that was one of the indications I had about it. And so when I went to the investors about this idea, in the beginning it was just like building a better, maybe high-tech, outdoor furniture that's magically, that can protect itself in rains and advanced materials and stuff like that. I actually pitched to one of the executives at SpaceX. I remember having the conversation next to his rocket engine. He was telling me how they are changing the fate for humanity and like interplanetary species traveling and stuff like that. The funny thing is, like, I was like, I don't want to talk to you about what I'm going to do. I'm going to design a sofa. Wow. But he was like, well, no, like, go ahead. What are you going to work on? I'm like, outdoor furniture. He's like, well, what do you think, when we go to Mars, what will people sit on? Not rocks. They need furniture. Probably need to be like UV resistant and all of that because of the space, gamma rays and stuff. So he was joking, but then I realized building a really fundamentally better product for the market was the number one thing. The second thing was where I saw an opportunity to basically, we call it like the backyard economy. Mm-hmm. So here are some stats, right? There are 24 million acres of backyard space in America, largely unused. It's covered by lawn, grass, right? So you have to water it, you have to cut it, but it's the size, generally 3 to 6 times of a size of like your interior, your home on average. Yet no one's really thinking about how to make use of that space, despite you paying for the lot and buying the house, right? And so the bigger vision here is like, how do we unlock the true value of the backyard? And the first piece was outdoor furniture, but soon, we're getting into the next phase of the company that we may, be able to talk about later. But that was kind of like the bigger idea for the investors.
What was the first product or products?
It was, so remember the wet bottom syndrome, the wet soggy cushion. So that was the very first product.
Anti-wet butt.
Yep. So we call it the outer shell. It's a patented, believe it or not, it's a piece of fabric that's zippered to the cushion. And you can use one hand to cover the cushion and one hand to open it. And that was patented. We didn't think it was patentable, but one of our investors said, hey, you should probably look into patenting this. And we did. And to this day, that was the thing that a lot of early adopters of outer have known, the brand, because they saw this 5-second animation of this sofa with like open and closing shelf that's like built into the sofa. And that went viral. It was like 17 million views in the first year, before it went on a big TV show. And that was the kind of like the game changer, for us. It was just a sofa.
Yeah, we'll bury the lead there about the game, the TV show. We'll talk about that in a few seconds.
Yeah.
So you've got this product, and so you talked about it went viral. So was that was kind of social advertising, kind of the first foray into getting the name out there about the brand?
That's right. I think in the beginning we didn't have a big budget. We shot some short videos, some photos, and we did a 3D animation at the time, which was quite novel. This is like 2018. So AI definitely wasn't around then. And so we rendered this 5-second animation of this, the built-in cover being open and closed, and it's looping for like 30 seconds. And so for anyone that has owned patio furniture, they would tell you how difficult it is to keep it covered and to keep it clean and to lug in the cushions in and out from the garage. You're from Ohio, so I'm sure like that's probably part of the issue.
I'm asking for a discount code after this call. Like I know this problem. I too suffer from wet butt syndrome.
Maybe we should do like honest commerce, like 30 or whatever for like, discount.
Well, I'll have you in my backyard and we'll do the next episode on my new outer furniture.
That's a good idea.
Absolutely. But yes, getting back to it. So you guys launched with this 30-second ad, which was a mock-up that I want to point out. This wasn't the actual product.
No.
And you guys put money behind this, and it worked.
It worked. People are like, oh my God, like, why didn't I think of that idea? Like, yeah, of course, like a built-in cover for outdoor sofa makes sense. I don't want to deal with the weather tarp and whatever.
Now, did you have a physical product yet?
We had a prototype, but we weren't ready to sell yet.
So with this thing going viral, how did you capitalize on that momentum? Did you go right into pre-sales or?
So what we did in the beginning is we added a chatbot to the site. We had leads coming in. I don't think order at the time. We entertained the idea of like maybe we should start accepting orders, but decided against it. But we were talking to influx of traffic of asking, hey, like, is this where I get the the built-in same product? And so that was the first thing. And I was on the front lines just answering all the messages. I remember the names of my first customers because of that. And just getting to know, what they want and what they were looking for, and is it going to meet their expectations, pricing, all of that. It was just like, it's magical because you get to talk to real customers who expressed interest in, a simple idea. And then they can help you kind of dictate how to launch this product. Mm-hmm. So we didn't do like a Kickstarter or whatever like that, but it gave us the benefit of like understanding what customers are looking for from a very, very early stage.
And it helped you come up with product 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, so it's to this day. So I joke that my title is CEO, but it doesn't stand for Chief Executive Officer. It stands for Customer Experience Officer. So even today, if you buy anything from Outer, we will send you, albeit automated email, but it's from my personal mailbox, jakeliu@outer.com. It'll have my cell phone number on it. And I encourage you to reach out to me, post-purchase if you have any issues or feedback. And so, I'm still in touch with a lot of customers to this day, like 6 years, after running. And they give me a lot of ideas for what to develop next. And it's certainly a big input to what to build next.
We talk about it on the show all the time. And, again, these things come up all the time because they are important. But your customers will tell you what to do next, what to fix to make it better. We could take this entire conversation and talk about conversion rate optimization for the website. I'm sure there's things in your inbox where someone's like, I almost didn't buy because of X, but then Y. And you're like, oh, it needs to say that on the website.
Sure. I would caveat that by saying, customers sometimes don't know what they want, right? It's the Henry Ford, the better carriage kind of analogy, right? If they want a faster carriage instead of a car. So again, my co-founder is really he's the better half here who actually understands product design. And so we actually have a channel on our website, on our Slack. It's called Seinfeld Moments. Okay. So this is his favorite thing, Terry's favorite thing. So remember like in the Seinfeld TV show, he always starts with like a monologue. It's like, have you ever noticed like this one thing in life, right? And like we laugh. It's like, oh yeah, like we all know about that problem, but no one does anything about it. So we kind of jokingly started this channel to basically encourage our employees to basically uncover issues when they deal with outdoor furniture, whether it's like a chaise lounge at the pool or like for example, like a blanket. I grew up in Alabama, like I mentioned. Bugs were the reason I don't go outside in the summer, right? And so we invented this throw blanket that repels mosquitoes naturally. You put it next to you and mosquitoes will not get near you. And so customers not going to tell you, it's like, hey, can you invent a blanket that repels mosquitoes? Like we had to have that insight. So it's a good balance of both of like what they want. Usually it's like a better product that we can improve on. But for net new ideas, another example is like a fire pit that we sell. It's like a coffee table with a fire pit in the middle. I'm a huge Korean barbecue fan. Like the allure of like friends and family sitting together and grilling instead of just one guy in the back like grilling steak for everyone else. We call it social barbecue. Like we came up with that idea, so we added a griddle to the fire pit. It's like, okay, yeah, you can sit around and sip and chat, but you can also cook. So things like that. I don't think customers will tell you to invent those things, but you got to have the conviction and courage to kind of like say, well, I think that's a good idea. Let's try it.
Hey, Shopify store owners. Have you ever wondered if your store is leaving money on the table? Imagine increasing sales without spending more money on ads. Sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not. I'd like to introduce you to StoreTester. StoreTester is a done-for-you conversion rate optimization service for Shopify merchants. Could your store benefit from increased conversion rates, higher average order values, and improved revenue per visitor? StoreTester could be the perfect partner for you. From ideation to implementation, this full-service A/B testing service takes all of the guesswork out of improving Shopify stores. StoreTester does all the work for you while offering month-to-month transparent fixed pricing. It gets even better. They believe in their service so much, they're offering the first test for free for qualified merchants. Let me repeat, the first test is free for qualified merchants. Curious to see if you qualify for a free test? Reach out today. Visit StoreTester.com to schedule an intro call. That's www.StoreTester.com. Schedule an intro call today to see if you qualify for a free test. Hey everybody, today's podcast is brought to you by Intelligems, the ultimate profit optimization tool for Shopify merchants. I'm telling you this, obviously you know I own an agency. We use Intelligems when we're running split testing and CRO stuff for all of our clients. Are you looking to maximize your profits? Intelligems offers data-driven solutions to optimize your content, prices, discounts, and shipping rates. Join over 500 happy clients who have seen significant improvements. With Intelligems, you gain control over your e-commerce economics, boosting your profit per visitor by an astonishing 36%. But that's not all. Intelligems users report a 54.62 increase in revenue per visitor and a remarkable rise in conversion rates. How does Intelligems do it? Through a suite of tools that allows you to A/B test everything on your Shopify store, from landing pages to product prices and shipping rates. Imagine testing new layouts, offers, even a new Shopify theme with ease. We're testing a new landing page for our client on a new theme versus an old landing page on their old theme right now. Intelligems empowers you to find the perfect price point for your products and optimize your shipping strategy. But there's more. Boost your average order value with customized campaign offers and discover if your customers prefer free shipping or a lower list price. With over $100 million in incremental profit generated, they have over 1.5 billion transactions ran through their software. They have over 400 million shoppers that have gone through their test. Intelligems is not a tool, it's a game changer for your business. Are you ready to transform your Shopify store's profitability? Book a demo today at Intelligems.io. Empower your brand to reach new heights. Again, that's Intelligems, giving superpowers to your customer acquisition, retention, and overall profitability. Let's talk about the kind of growth spurt you had and how it led you to a TV show. I'll let you explain.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I mentioned this novel invention of the built-in cover.
Yeah.
Another novel piece that we really, I feel, pioneered or if not invented is this idea of neighborhood commerce or neighborhood showroom. Mm-hmm. So instead of having brick and mortar showrooms where you go and check out the product and sit in the sofa, we actually crowdsource our showroom. So basically, if you go to the website, liveouter.com/showrooms, you can type in your zip code and you'll find nearby customers who currently have outer products in their backyard, and you can make an appointment to go to their house to check it out. And so basically it's like a social kind of like offline, very authentic connection with real customers, and you get to see the product and feel it in real life in the real organic setting instead of like in a showroom. And
I mean, that in and of itself is game changing. It's one, in your category, but two, just, you know, I've done a lot of these episodes, and only, you know, the concept of like a trunk show is very fashion oriented.
Sure. Yep.
And then it almost takes me back to the idea of like the Tupperware parties.
Yep. But a lot of people draw analogies. The difference, I would say, is we do not pay commission. We strictly tell we call them hosts. So people who already bought our products, who volunteer to be on this platform. By the way, there are over 1,000 of these homes. And these are all multi-million-dollar houses because we target the premium, market. People just do it willingly, and they ask us like, "Hey, where's the sales script?" I'm like, "No, don't sell it. Just talk about it like you would a neighbor and like a friend or a family, right?" Because customers nowadays know, what they want to know. Even before the visit, they already scour the internet for reviews and YouTube videos and read your website and talk to your salespeople. They're just really there to experience the product in person, talk to a real customer, how they feel about it. So we do not do the MLM, is that what you call it? Like the multimedia, multi-level marketing, like Avon or
Well,
Amway.
I wasn't trying to draw parallels to their business model, but just the idea of like getting the products in front of customers in other people's homes.
That's the piece that is analogous. That's true. So we have one interesting story. We have a couple that actually got married last year, and they met each other 3 years ago during the pandemic, when the woman was visiting, the wife was visiting the husband for the outer sofa.
Oh, that's amazing.
So they got to know each other, and then they started dating, and then they got married last year. So these obviously that's a very edge case, but it just speaks to the power of like
you can find love without her.
pivoting to social dating network. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so you have this product going viral.
Yep.
You have this amazing marketing strategy.
Yeah,
and then it helps. Did you apply or did they reach out to you?
Yes. Okay. So you're alluding to Shark Tank, and so yes. So and the last month of toward the latter half of our first year, they actually reached out to us on Instagram. They had read about us on a media piece about the showroom concept, and then they found it to be very fascinating, the product. And they're actually in Culver City, and I we were based in Santa Monica, so it's like next door in LA. And so they reached out to us. It's like, hey, why don't you apply? Right? So you still have to go through the entire application process. It's not like, hey, you just have a fast pass. Mm-hmm. So it turns out there were like, I think 35,000 applicants that year, and they invited about 120 companies on site to film, and they eventually aired about 80 of them. So we got, we were one of the very few that was selected out of the 40,000 people. That was just a whirlwind of, we prepped it for like 2 months, we filmed it, and the show dropped like literally a month after we filmed, which is very, very atypical.
That's the fastest turnaround I've ever heard. And I've interviewed maybe upwards of 50 folks that have been on Shark Tank.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I remember some being like, I just sat there twiddling my thumbs.
Almost like
a year. I couldn't
tell
anybody for a year which way they went. Did they not? It's a little...
For us, it was a shock too. We thought it was going to be, so we filmed in September. We aired in November. I believe it was 2019. Season 11. I don't remember the exact, it's been history, but it was like a very short time period where we didn't even have time to negotiate with, the shark about the deal, right? Like it was like Christmas times and it was about to air. And so it was good and bad. Good is like we aired and we didn't really cement a deal. And after it aired, we brought in a lot of traffic and obviously a very different company and all of that, but it didn't really give us a lot of time. So, but it's a known secret that a lot of Shark Tank companies don't really close deals after it was on the show, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll leave it there because I cannot talk more about it because I signed an NDA. Yeah, but I don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, so it's a fascinating experience. I would recommend anyone that's building consumer products to do it. It's once in a lifetime and it's so much fun.
Well, even you alluded to the application products that I've heard through multiple ex-Shark Tankers, if we're going to use that term,
sure,
that it just makes you diligently put your numbers in order and know them front and back, top and down.
That's true.
And it highlights problems within your business.
That's right. And I think that more importantly, I should say as important for a brand, it's almost like a microcosm of how to build a brand. Because it's about understanding your numbers and like basic economics, but it's also about storytelling. Mm-hmm. How do you capture an audience, right? You're pitching to an investor, but you're also talking to millions of people. Like, why should they care, right? How do you make it funny or emotional or whatever? So the producers on set was like, no, be more like dramatic. That's why you always see like this very I don't talk like that in real life. They're like, no, more energy. And so I think that's a really good lesson in building a brand, which is like, how do you become interesting? Why should people pay attention? Why should people remember you? Right? Exactly. And so, good lessons there.
Absolutely. We've got just a short amount of time left here. And you talked about the future plans of taking over the backyard living category and talk more about that vision.
So, again, as I alluded to earlier, there are 90 million single family homes in the US. 90% of them have backyards. Outdoor spaces, I should say. And there's about 24 million acres of backyard space in America. A lot of that is untapped, right? It's covered by grass, covered by lawn. And how do you and it's paid for, by the homeowner already. And so if you're paying for this land, if you're not using it, what are you doing with it, right? And so, and the size of the backyard is typically anywhere from 3 to 6 times the size of interior. So you have this big plot of real estate that's underdeveloped, would be a way to say it. And so we had this impetus when we were talking to some early customers. Like I said, I reached out to a lot of them directly and they say, oh, well, I'm waiting for my patio to be built to actually put your stuff on it. Because you don't just buy outer and put it on the lawn, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, building patio sounds like a very nightmarish thing. And I went through that in the pandemic. I built an outdoor kitchen myself and I would not recommend it to anybody. It took way too long, 2 months. And way too much money and way over quota and did the quote they gave me, and then somebody showed up one day and didn't show up the next day. A lot of issues, right? And so how do we actually make that, or we call it like an engineer or like a construction project? Can we actually productize that? Can we actually get in front of the furniture buying cycle of like actually making outdoor space usable? So we're launching a new thing called Outer Spaces. We'll have, this is probably the first public venue I'm talking about it just because it's so fresh. That we want to make an outdoor living space a turnkey solution for you. You can build an outdoor living space in one day, turnkey. And we've invented this new process of building a foundation without drilling, excavation, concrete, or heavy labor. It's just 2 people, 4 hours, and you will have a really nice deck with modern age materials, composite decking, and aluminum frame, and you can build a pergola on top. We're even doing something extra. We're building something called the solar system. So it'll have built-in solar panel and lithium-ion battery, just like a EV car. Mm-hmm. And it turns into a solar generator that sits in your backyard that extends your living square footage, but also provides electricity for your house to offset your energy consumption. So basically, our idea is that solar does not solely belong on the rooftop. We believe it belongs in the backyard as well. Yeah. And you can get the benefit of solar while adding to your living square footage. So it's like 2 birds, 1 stone kind of scenario. So we're really, really excited to kind of launch that very soon here. I'm really excited to work on that.
Absolutely. So if I'm listening to this podcast and that excites me, where do I go to sign up for the newsletter to get the latest and greatest on how that idea and vision is evolving?
Thanks for the opportunity. So it's spaces.liveouter.com.
Awesome. And then obviously the website itself is liveouter.com. Go check out all of the amazing products that they brought to market over there. Jake, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. It's a fun chat. Thank you so much.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.